screen's on fire. Reels are spinning, we're fueling desire. Split in two, who's running the show? Popcorn's popping, let the truth flow. Severed thoughts, we're cracking the code. Ripping through stories that the screen's bestowed. From blockbuster bombs to the gems unknown. We're slicing the scenes, yeah, we're setting the tone. Cue the drama, crank the sound. We're tearing the plot lines down. No secret spare, we're spilling the tea. The 7 floors where you wanna be. Do you wanna cut it? Yeah, yeah. Rip the screen apart, ignite the spark. Do you wanna gut it? Oh, oh. Truth to blame, we're leaving a mark. From the twists to the turns, we're calling it raw. Welcome to the madness of the 7th floor. Do you wanna cut it? Let's review, it's what we do.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Severed Floor, and we're back with our lovely co-host. I got my wife, D, one and only. We got Shay Byron from Candy Digital. We have Video Shane from McFarlane Toys Digital, as well as Slider from Another Dimension. Guys, thank you so much for joining us, guys, as we review Season 2, Episode 3 of Peacemaker. And guys, in this latest episode, we see John Cena, a.k.a. Chris Smith, Peacemaker, thriving in an alternate dimension where he is beloved. He is a beloved hero. He reconnects with his living brother, Keith, and I love the chemistry that they got over there. There's also a warm and kinder Emilia Harcourt, and he also navigates tension with a very surprised guest that's come back from the dead, which is Rick Flag Jr., played by Joel Kinnaman. When the Sons of Liberty attack and launches a violent destruction on Argus, Chris unleashes a very brutal suitless rescue. He wasn't wearing his suit, and people have noticed that. Also in the main universe, the 11th Street kids recover from a wild night of partying as Argus ramps up to pursue Peacemaker since they know what's going on with him. Guys, that's been the episode. I'm here with my crew and cast right here as we talk about the episode, guys. And I got to tell you, for me, this episode really reminded me of one of the old Action comics. I don't know if you guys remember. I want to say it's, oh, you know what? I got to go find it right here. There's a comic that this reminds me of. It's in my collection. It's called Action Comic 684. If you guys know which comic that is the one where Doomsday reaches the limits, the city limits of Metropolis. And in that specific comic, it's an action comic, obviously the name, but there's only 3 frames per page. And I remember when they did that, they really wanted to exemplify in the comic that this is mainly action. Like, this comic is moved quickly and fast. And this episode moved very quickly and fast. We had a lot of action sequences. We had some tender moments. But this, I really felt like that this specific episode was an episode to exude action, move like a very quick and fast episode. And so that's why this episode reminded me of that specific comic book. And I have that comic in real life as well as a digital form right here. Also, welcome back, MetaBeast. So very fast episode. We find out that Rick Flag is alive in the alternate universe, and we also find out that he had a love interest with Emilia Harcourt, and we get to see a little prequel moment with them in bed as they kind of talk about things, and we find out they're like best friends who are also lovers, right? And we also find out that there is some canon from Suicide Squad #1 with Rick Flag as well as the Enchantress right here, if you guys remember that. So that's pretty cool, because you have Rick Flag pretty much saying he doesn't want to break up with Enchantress because she might put a hole in the world. So that's kind of the arc of the episode. We also have some really tender moments with Keith right here, but I really want to kind of get to my cast here and kind of ask them how they felt about the episode. And like, guys, this is the Severed Floor. It's a very casual podcast. We are unofficial. We're not a part of DC or anything. This is just our opinions and our opinions alone. I'm going to start with MetaBeast because I know he's on the move. MetaBeast, how'd you like this episode?
It was short, but it was good. I feel Eagly stole episode 2. I say Vigilante stole episode 3 with his jokes and his very uninformed trivia, I would call it, something like that.
You mean Spider Boy over here?
And the pants. And the pants.
How did I have a feeling you were going to bring up that pants? Slider, what about you, man? How'd you feel about the episode so far?
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was a good episode. Yeah, definitely had a lot of action. I liked how they dug into the new universe. I guess Earth 2, they're calling this one. So, yeah, it was good. I liked this. I liked the, Rick Flag in that one. It was really interesting, like how they, made him in that universe. Like completely opposite, and we got to see a little bit more of hardcore in there, and it was a good episode. Yeah, I really enjoyed this one. Yep.
Shane, your first reactions to the episode.
Well, my very first reaction was how short it was. Like, wow, it's over already. But like you said, there's a lot that happens in a very short period of time. Yeah, I mean, there were so many great things. I love, we had talked about this before, about when you go into other worlds and how the actors are able to portray the same character differently. And it was great to see a very different version of Rick Flag Jr. and Hardcore in that world. And yeah, it was also great just to see Chris, back in action and being able to, take care of business, John Wick style. Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed all of it. There's definitely a lot to talk about as far as things I noticed about that world that I think we're going to learn pretty quickly. It's pretty obvious if you just open your eyes and pay attention to who's in that world and who is not in that world. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you and I have had a private conversation in DMs about this. I think we all have. You guys see my post. But Shay, initial reactions to this episode.
So I like that it gave us a lot of foundation and background and a lot of aha moments, like, discovering that Rick Flag Jr. had this relationship with Hardcore. I did not even expect that or think that that would ever happen. And I feel like I love the complication and the multiple levels that it adds to her relationship with Chris. So I like how we're kind of digging deeper and deeper into all of the backgrounds of everybody. I love that. And one thing that I didn't like, though, was Tim Meadows didn't get as much airtime. I was really looking forward to that. So that was the only thing I didn't like about it. But other than that, I loved the action. That was like, oh, such a perfect moment. I feel like Chris really got to shine. And whereas I feel like he doesn't get that many opportunities in the other universe, I feel like this universe really put him up on a pedestal, and I really loved seeing that.
Yeah. D, we just watched it like literally 10 minutes ago.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
and last night I watched it last night too. But last night was like more of a play, pause, play, rewind, play, pause, because I was taking a lot of notes because I know there's like hidden stuff in the background. And I might have missed some, but yeah, I really like this episode. I wish it was longer, but I mean, we got whatever 38 minutes of awesomeness, and it was really good to see Chris being in I think DC 2 or Earth 2, and kind of see him portray like the softer side of himself, but at the same time, like the nitty gritty part when he was fighting the what do you call it? The Sons of
Liberty.
Sons of Liberty. Yeah, Sons of Liberty, and their acronym is also like SOL. You're shit out of luck. I just found that. But yeah, when he was fighting them, so that I really love like that balance, and just to see also like a softer side of Hardcore, because she's like pretty hardcore in the regular universe. So it was different to see her in a more like very gentle way, and her not like going right away to like fight. She was just like staying in the background, not doing anything. So yeah, it was a really good episode, and I learned a lot of stuff. So I can't wait to like go more into details with everybody.
Yeah, no, and I agree with you about Jennifer Holland. Like, and she explained in the Peacemaker podcast that, like, even though it's a different version of Amelia Harcourt, she's still kind of the same. If you kind of think about it, like, she still has that almost same type of demeanor, but she's less broken, I guess, in this universe. And I really want to kind of stress on what Shane's saying here about really kind of take a look at what you see and what you don't see in this universe. And we'll get into that, but let me kind of like, I did break down a little bit of key moments, and we don't have to go through these key moments. I just kind of want to say them out loud, and then we can kind of like maybe unpack what happened. But essentially, the episode starts with a flashback with Harcourt and Rick Flag. We find out that Rick Flag is also alive in the alternate universe. So we can imagine what that's going to play like when Daddy finds out that his son is somewhere else, right? Chris unites also with his brother Keith in the alternate dimension, and I really, really love these interactions with his brother. And I really think that it's the brother that will probably figure him out first before everyone else, just because he must know his little brother so well. That's something that's exuding from Keith a lot. And I love their banter that they have, you know, when they're playing like, 20 questions are like, hey man, where does Harcourt work? Right. You know what I mean? Yeah. Hey, so can I borrow your truck? Right. I love that.
Yeah.
The peace cycle, guys, like,
Oh,
come on, man. The peace cycle is just badass. You got the meeting at Argus, where we get to see kind of like that funny interaction between Rick Flag and also John Cena, and you can see that Peacemaker is still a little bit like Rick Flag really does like intimidate him, right? And so he still has that feeling of that intimidation of DCU Rick Flag versus now this is like Earth 2 Rick Flag, right? So there's that. You have that little date between Chris and Harcourt. Sons of Liberty show up, and then you kind of see that Argus is ready to kind of like really throw down the hammer on Chris and the DCU. So that's kind of what's gone and happened in this episode, and let's kind of unpack it. And I want to go and start with Keith right here. From the very beginning, we start. Keith wakes up, Peacemaker. He's hungover. He wakes up in the alternate universe, and they have this interaction like, yo, where you been? We kind of find out that the alternate Chris that's dead now, he, kind of sick. He also parties. He also used disappearing. This type of, attitude that he's exuding is kind of, it looks like it's normal for them, but, he is acting a little bit strange, asking all these kind of questions. So like, what do you guys think is going on here in terms of the brother? Like, do you think the brother's going to figure this out? Let's have an open discussion about like the beginning of the episode. Anybody, please.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
No, you can go.
I was just going to say, I agree with you, Hinano, that his brother would definitely figure him out first before anyone, because they were so close. You saw that in season 1, how as kids, they were so close with one another. So, of course, growing up, they would have been even closer. So he's definitely going to figure him out.
He's literally telling him at the end, you can tell me anything. I'm not going anywhere. But and our Peacemaker is really taking that to heart, but not realizing, yo, you're not his fucking brother. You know what I mean? So Slider.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think that Keith is going to figure it out. I think right now it kind of seems like, Peacemaker had problems with, pills and, just some other stuff like that. And I think his brother is kind of like, right now thinking like that's what the problem is. But I think he's getting a little bit more suspicious with, just the questions he's asking and that kind of stuff, So I think that he's going to be the one to figure it out. Plus we haven't seen the dad that much either yet. We've seen him here and there a little bit, but it does seem like Keith's going to be the one to figure it out. So yeah, I agree.
Speaking of the dad, did you guys notice that in season 1, his outfit was red, and in season 2, in this Earth, it's blue?
Yeah.
I think that's supposed to signify something. I don't know what, but
Well, I have a snaking suspicion, if you guys have already seen my comments in our DMs, that I have a feeling I know what Earth we're on, just because there's some colors missing in the entire world, in my opinion. Like, you know what I mean? There's some, you know, like the good example is when he mentions Kardashians to his brother right here. Is like, who the hell are you talking about, right? Like,
Yeah, we're the
you know what I
Kardashians.
mean? Like,
Yeah.
so that kind of tells you what's going on. And I'm just gonna say it. I think we're on Earth X.
Yes,
So
agree.
yeah. You know, Sons of Liberty. You don't necessarily see like any of the monikers of like what's in our world, right? Like they do a really good job at like hiding logos and emblems or making them very vague looking, because that's what D and I were looking at, like the cop cars. We wanted to know what was on top of the cops you know, badge, and you couldn't really tell. So it's very interesting, but yeah, a lot of bright colors and not such so dark ones, I've noticed. What about you,
Yeah,
Shane?
no.
You're muted,
No.
my friend.
Yeah, it is a very white town. There is nobody of any other ethnicity in that town except for them. So yeah, I think that we're gonna find out that his family is. I don't think the racism left. I think that his father is still the leader of whatever that universe's version of that is. Yeah, and you know the whole thing with hardcore. I mean, I got actually for me it was almost sad listening to her because it was almost because she's such a strong character in the other version of the dimension, and in this she's kind of a doormat. I mean, she
Yes.
is
She's
allowing
neutered.
she's allowing
Yes.
herself to be. I mean, she even says, you know, basically that Chris has cheated on her multiple times, and she keeps coming back for more because, like, you know, whatever for whatever reason, you know, that he's idolized in this world, and yeah, it's sad to see that version of her, and I would hope that Chris realizes that, and that's not the hardcore he wants. He wants to earn her love. So yeah, I think this whole this that's what this whole episode was about. Was about, you know, this is the best universe ever. No, it's not. Not
Yep.
at all.
Yeah.
I feel like I feel like the whole season of grass is greener, you know, kind of underlying theme. I think that's what, and then he's going to realize that, like you said, this is not the hardcore he wants. He wants the other. This is not the world that he wants, even though it looks picture perfect on the outside. He wants the real world that is represented in so many other better ways, even though this one looks like it's a good one.
Yeah.
He's in the honeymoon phase.
The honeymoon.
Like that's exactly
You
what he's
stole
going
that
on.
from my head.
Yeah. I mean, he's totally in the honeymoon phase. And what I love about this episode, like right off the bat, and I don't know if Metabees can hear us, but like when you see his clothes, he's got like the silky shirts and like the pants.
know.
And I'm like, what the heck is going on? He's a freaking gigolo. You know
I
what I
know,
mean?
right?
You know, go ahead, D. Sorry.
No, sorry, I cut you off.
No, go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna talk about the clothes. Rick Flags Jr. He's wearing yellow, and in Suicide Squad, that's like his color, right? Is the whole yellow, and he's still
Yep.
wearing it, and it's just so different because I'm the most recent show with him was For All Mankind as an actor, and he's just totally different from this version of Rick Flag Jr. He's just like, you know, I was just here to like see what Chris is doing at the office. Like he's kind of not really assertive, but like he's
the jealous guy in this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, regarding the color, I was just gonna mention his shirt, the yellow, and then I mean, probably has nothing to do with it, but when they were eating hot dogs and she splattered mustard, it was like a big thing of yellow. I don't know, just
That's interesting. Yeah.
caught my eye. But yeah, anyway, go ahead, Hinano.
Well, no, so like I really love the fact that they brought Joel Kinnaman back. And so when you watch, and I don't know if Slider, you watched it, but you watched the podcast because Joel Kinnaman was one of the guests on there. And, you know, they explain that they explore a different side of Rick Flag as well as the actor, right? Because the actor got to play a funny version of himself, and he's a freaking mess in this, as Metabeast said. You know, he's tripping over trash cans, blaming other people for it. He literally shows up. What are you doing here, Chris? You know, oh, you're here for a personal thing, right? And then you see him with the, I don't know, was he holding two handsets while he came up on the thing? I was like, that is hilarious, right? Like, but he's exuding like the jealous boyfriend, and so they made a funny comment in the James Gunn podcast where they said like, you never know, this is a good way to bring back my buddy Joel in the fold. And so I have a funny feeling that because we're introducing multiverses, that's the one thing I love about DC is they were always loosey-goosey with the universes versus Marvel. They didn't do that as much. So like this kind of stuff, I'm used to DC giving me this type of content because the CW and all the other cartoons, they always deal with multiverses. So to have Rick Flag come back, like who knows, maybe this Rick Flag comes to the DCU. I would love that, by the way, you know, to have a different Rick Flag show up here. But we'll have to see on that. I don't know if you have anything to say, Metabeast, because I know you're busy right now, but you tap in whenever you can. Let's talk about,
Oh, sorry. The whole color yellow. If you guys seen Creature Commandos, Rick Flag Sr. is also wearing yellow in that. And then just the thing that I found, kind of going off the subject in the beginning, when he's rummaging for his clothes in the drawer and he finds all those pills underneath. I paused and I zoomed in to the one we could see, and the prescription is it was for alprazolam, which is also like a version of Xanax, and it was prescribed by the doctor named Ed Tilden. And Ed Tilden in real life has worked with Gunn on the Suicide Squad and other MCU films. So I thought that was interesting. Like a little Easter egg they hid in there.
Wow, look at those Easter eggs.
I told you there's a lot of pauses and plays and rewinds.
Detective D.
Yeah, it was really cool. It was fun.
Detective.
So, guys, I want to throw this back at you guys. So, like, what would you like to talk to next? Usually, I'm curating this, like, you know, that we can talk about peace cycles or anything like that. But like, is there something that really you guys really want to talk about that you noticed or that like really resonated with you with the film? We'll go with Slider.
Yeah, I mean, how you were talking about like that. There's no real like any form of color in this universe, right? Like, there's no different type of people, no anything. And it was I was kind of thinking about that too. It's like there's no mention, like you don't see anything about metahumans really either yet. So I was kind of thinking like maybe this universe too, like maybe Lex is bigger in this universe, just because like Peacemaker has like his suit, and his helmet, and his brother has a suit, the father has a suit, like, and Lex is big with making suits and stuff too. So, I don't know. That kind of like just popped in my head. It's like, he's been in this universe a little bit, and it just seems like those three are the main superheroes, and maybe it's just this area, I don't know. But yeah, that was something that just kind of like I noticed. And then also Jitter's Coffee was in this one, which I think's funny because that was big in the Flash, on CW. So yeah,
and Superman.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I want to bring this up to you that you Gunn does state this, that I've said countless times, you can watch every project by itself, of course, just like you can watch Peacemaker by itself or Superman without seeing anything else. But Man of Tomorrow and Peacemaker Season 2 are very, very connected. And so if you've been watching on the timeline, it's already stated that Lex Luthor is going to make an appearance in Season 2 of Peacemaker. I've seen it because there is a Twitter profile that's pretending to be LexCorp. And they're literally saying that this person's going to be on. Another thing I've noticed is David Cornsweet showed up to the set of Peacemaker in his suit. Like, come on. You show up to the Peacemaker freaking thing with the suit on. and you're not
Just
going to
'cause.
play Superman
Just
in
'cause.
Peacemaker just because. So you're kind of seeing what's happening here. So it's going to be very interesting to how they roll this in, especially since we're kind of seeing the color wash of the world. And like, I want to go back to the color palette of the world. And I think I had a picture here of it. What was so strange is if you were watching the action sequences, you see Peacemaker jumping, and then you see at the very end, Keith shows up, right? Like he blows up the helicopter. Peacemaker saves everyone by unplugging every cord and the bomb stops, right? Which I find hilarious for a Peacemaker thing.
If only that were that easy in real life.
Right.
Just
But
unplug it.
you notice the sky, it changes from gray to sunny. Like this is something I noticed, like from this scene right here where he jumps off the building into the other building, it's like very cloudy, even right here. But then when the brother shows up, either they had to film on different days and maybe that's all it is. But I noticed that the sky turns gray to blue really quick in this universe. So
It's
Yeah.
like, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, and it just one thing real quick. It's just seems like Hardcore was very surprised that like Peacemaker would run in there without his suit either. So like that just
Yeah.
something popped into my head that when you said that. But yeah, that's it.
Yeah, she might be another one who would notice quickly too that he's not.
Yeah.
Metabeast, are you trying to say something?
Yeah, so just one of my thoughts too on this is, you know how he said several times throughout the episode, best universe ever.
Mhm.
I get the feeling, and most likely that will be his last happy moment for the rest of the season.
You know, he makes a good point. And so Metabeast, you're pretty good with DC lore. Do you think this is Earth X?
I don't know the whole Earth thing.
Okay,
That
so
I couldn't answer.
in case that no one knows what Earth X is, it's literally an alternate universe in DC where the Nazis won World War II, dominating the world, and you know, basically Uncle Sam and everything ceased to exist right there. And so this world's a little bit different in terms of like how history went, kind of like a Man in the High Castle kind of thing, right?
I do. Then that'll make sense why the dad and the brother are so fine in this world, because you know he's basically Nazi. And also back to the whole him and the brother, with the brother saying you can tell me anything. I think most likely he's not gonna exactly figure it out. I get the feeling that the brother's making him feel comfortable enough that he's gonna share.
You make a really good point. Like he's already kind of making him feel comfortable with the fact that you can tell me anything, and it goes back to the fact that our Peacemaker wants to feel that he wants the love of his brother because it was stolen from him those years ago, right? And so now he gets to have that. That's a really good point, Metabeast.
Yeah. One one thing relating to the brother that I didn't like was, why did the brother come in at the very end to blow up the helicopter? Like, where was he throughout all this? Like, isn't the superhero supposed to be there like right away, not
He was
wait
eating
till like
eggs.
the last minute? I know, but like, come on, man, put your eggs down. You can like heat it up after, or scarf them down for energy and then like fly over there. I just thought that was like, Peacemaker did all that. He took care of the SOLs, and then his brother comes in and blows up the helicopter. And then yay. Yeah, I don't know. I just thought that he got there too late, or like a little bit later. But maybe they did that on purpose to highlight Chris.
He might be used to getting most of the glory. It also kind of sounds like.
Yeah, maybe it's just like Chris was there already, and so that's why everything was kind of put to rest. But I do like their interaction. You know, the brother shows up. It's like, did you stop the bomb? You know, fuck yeah. They're like, yeah, you know what I mean?
Chris,
and like, I dig that, right? That's so cool.
Yeah.
So, but
I guess that was cool.
and like the brother kind of looks like Judge Dredd if you really look at him. Right?
Yeah, in his uniform.
Yeah, but so let's kind of like talk about this guy. I really enjoyed this guy's interaction with Kanamo right there.
Yeah.
At the very beginning, right? Like, what's her face? Obadiah is all like hungover. and so she's talking with Harcourt, and she feels like crap. And of course, this guy's there, and they're all talking about Chris, and he's like, "Oh, Chris would tell me everything," blah blah blah. And then Harcourt's like, "Oh, you got to go check on Economo. I think he's choking on his puke." And you hear him running to the bathroom, like, "Get your fingers out of my mouth! What's your problem?" Right? So, but what I love about that scene is they end up talking in the tub, right? Him and Economo, and again, it's like one of these useless facts, like, "Hey, question me on spiders. I know everything." You know what I mean? Like, "Oh yeah, the eyeballs. There's like only a pair of two." It's like, no, they got 8 eyeballs, man. You know, tarantulas are fuzzy, right? But like, what I've noticed so far is they're not utilizing this guy for his action sequences because, like, he's a badass dude, right? They're really utilizing him this season as the comic relief. So, at least between the both of them. But like, how'd you guys feel between the interaction between both of them, as well as the interaction when Economo meets up with Argus, right? You have Tim Meadows basically blaming him, like, you're using my bird blindness against me with ducks. You know what I mean? Titties could have gotten killed. You know,
it's funny, but I love that part.
Yeah, so it's like Titties could have gotten killed, so that means Titties is alive. A lot of other people are still alive. We're gonna see him again. So, but yeah. Well, what do you guys think about after like the whole scene with Peacemaker kind of like saving the bomb, and then we have kind of like we get to see what's going on also in DCU?
Well, one thing I did want to bring up is they made it. I think every line of dialogue is important, and I think it's there for a reason. And what did Economos say to Tim Meadows when he was explaining the eagle?
God, we just watched this, didn't we, D?
He said to him, "It's the symbol of America."
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
What have we not seen in Earth 2?
The eagle.
Oh,
Yeah.
right.
You're right. The eagle.
I don't think eagly exists in this other world. And I don't think that, to your point, I don't think that it represents whatever
America.
This country is that they're in.
But then Eagly was the one that directed.
I kind of agree with that. I thought about that too. Eagly's not there.
But I think it's interesting that Eagly is the one that directed him to go through this door.
It's true. Yeah.
Maybe he's flying around, like, you know, just trying to catch some roadkill or something. I don't know.
Well, what's interesting is, sorry, go ahead, Shane.
No, either that or Eagly is just far more. I think animals in general are far more perceptive than we give them credit for. It just like with, you know, when you see service animals that know before their owner is having an attack, they start and get the medicine before they even happens. Maybe this universe is what Chris needs in order to move on.
Yes, that is actually a very good point. I was going to say, I think this universe isn't just the plot. I think it's an emotion. It's like, I think it's emotional fuel for Chris. I think the reality shift is kind of like a way to confront Chris's trauma and like the emotional consequences of all of his violent actions in the past. So I think it's like him being able to look at himself in the mirror and really figure things out and kind of help him through everything he's been through. So there's like this moral weight of violence, like how he can or how he'd be able to grapple with killing people, you know, and his reasons for it. So I think it's going to kind of help him get through that, in addition to realizing that where he is, the original Earth that he came from, is the better one to be in versus this one, which on the outside looks good.
Yeah, it's like a Christmas. It's like a Christmas Carol.
Yeah.
That's a good one right there.
Yeah.
You know, I like that you brought up the eagle, and what's so interesting about this is we don't know how Peacemaker first befriended the eagle, right? We haven't been told that story yet, and so I'm just going to deduce Eagly came after Keith died, right?
Oh yeah, 100%.
You know, and so like, and because Keith never died in this world, he never got to meet the eagle, right? And maybe that's why there's no Eagly. Well, plus the fact that, you know, Chris is all about America, right? And so once he finds out what's really going on in so-called Earth 2, Earth X, then he'll probably have an epiphany, right?
Yeah.
But I'm with you on animals really feeling something that we don't, and so
Mhm.
maybe Eagly thought that would help him, right? You know what I mean? Like by seeing something like
Yeah.
that, maybe he's being a wise bird because I
Yes.
mean, American bald eagle, right? Being a wise eagle and showing him like, look, this is what you could have, but like really appreciate what you have now, right?
Mhm.
I mean,
Yeah.
So
Eagly protects the house. He is
Yeah.
also he's also protecting Chris in other ways.
Yes.
I
He's
mean,
yeah,
like
this
a therapist.
uh, just real quick, Eagly could be from that universe. Maybe he came from that universe that he's in now at some point and flew through, and like he flew into the other universe with Peacemaker, in Earth 1, technically. And maybe this one, because America, we're guessing doesn't exist, that maybe it's because, if this is, Earth X and the Nazis won and everything, then the eagle is the symbol of America. So maybe in this world, all the eagles were hunted and killed by the hunter, and Eagly escaped, and that's how he found Peacemaker. And maybe that's why he's trying to get him to go back, maybe to show him, like, this world isn't as good as you think it is, kind of tying into what you said, Shay, that like if your brother and your father did live, like they would have been part of this kind of,
Mhm.
society. So yeah, just my guess.
no, that's a really good guess right there. And
Yeah.
since we're talking about the eagle hunter, let's talk about this guy right here because we finally get to meet Red St. Wild, played by Michael Rooker right here, who is an eagle hunter who has been dispatched by Argus to hunt down Eagly. And I really love the dialogue where I can't remember her
Mhm.
name though, but like the agent from Argus, where she's like, "Economo, why didn't you tell us that he had
Sasha.
like a deadly eagle killer or something like that, or
Mhm.
or a deadly duck or something, a meta duck, right? A
Yeah.
metahuman duck. It's like it's a freaking bald eagle. I've never said it was a duck, But we get to meet this guy, and then also this guy shows up again too.
Yeah.
What's up, fatty?
Hey, Betty.
Judo Master comes back, and now he's paired with Economo right here. So the band's back together.
Yeah.
They're ready to storm Chris's house. At the end of the episode, we see Chris as he's like all like stoked because he had that conversation with Keith. He thinks everything's good, best multiverse ever, and he walks back to his original universe, probably to kind of settle things before he decides to like make the new universe a permanent home. And then, it cuts to black. We see a bunch of the Argus guys. They're literally coming to storm the place, and we don't know what's going to happen next. Although, if you did watch the very end, it does kind of give you a preview of what is to happen. So, yeah, kind of guys, break it down. What do you think is going to happen next for our intrepid people here?
Well, yeah, I mean, we set up in this episode that Chris is a formidable killer and can take out an entire team by himself, and I think that's going to carry over into this. Whatever happens, he's going to end up I think he's going to take everybody out, and he's going to go. What the reason why he has to think about his decision with that hardcore is he's going to go and talk to her and say, look, are we going to try and make this work? She's going to say, no, it's not going to work. And then he's going to go, all right, cool, I'm out. And then he's going to go back in the other universe. And the next episode, we'll see the revelation of what that real world is. That's what I think.
Nice.
Interesting.
It was mentioned in the podcast as well. We're going to find out in the next episode who created the quantum chamber. Whether it's the Linear Men or someone else. Gunn did say that we're going to find out who made that and what the purpose of that was for. So that's going to be pretty cool. But Shay, what do you think is going to happen?
So I think that Rick Flag Jr. isn't just like I think he is just like a happy-go-lucky variant. Like he's just, because something about him feels kind of off, So I think my prediction is he's part of this world's surveillance state, and he knows that Peacemaker doesn't belong there. So I think he's also going to be one of the people who calls him out.
Oh, Peacemaker, what a joke, huh? Okay.
And then, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
And then I think that Harcourt's like her emotional conflict is building toward a major split. So I think she either turns on Chris or she's the one who ends up like grounding him when this alt reality like starts to fall and collapse. But I think either way, we're going to start seeing cracks soon. And I don't think that both Harcourts will make it out alive. I know that sounds kind of dark.
Oh no, that's good. What do you think? Oh, Metabeast is gone. Slider, what do you think?
Yeah, I think he's gonna go into the, he's gonna have, an issue with them coming into his house, and then, he's gonna kill him, fight him, and somehow I think he is gonna get to Hardcore and try to see if there's any way to make it work, one last time. And I think she's gonna, reject him again. And then he's gonna go back into that world, thinking like, okay, I'm gonna stay here now. And then that's when that world is gonna kind of fall apart, or, on him. So I think definitely somebody's gonna figure it out, probably Keith. And then, he's gonna really find out what that world is, and it's probably not gonna be anything that, he thought it was like. And then I also think the Argus from Earth 1 is going to end up probably following him in there, and then that's when there's going to be some kind of a big conflict between both of the universes, and maybe that's when Rick Flag Sr. sees his son and something happens there. But I definitely think there's going to be some kind of conflict going with that whole thing. And then I think maybe Lex Luthor is the one who developed this door system, in that universe, maybe. And that's how the father got it, because he stole it from him, and something like along those lines. Because I know they're going to bring Lex in. Well, at least I think. I'm not 100% sure, but it kind of seems like they are. So, and it just seems like if he's done that in one universe, like the main one, he probably is the one that creates these in multiple universes. So, yeah, that's my take.
Yeah, no, you. I like your take. I'm with you on that one. D.
I think, yeah. So with Chris, he's gonna. I mean, he really likes his moments, his tender moments with Hardcore, and I think he's gonna try and use that, yeah, with his original Hardcore. And she's gonna be like weirded about it just because of the kind of person she is. So yeah, like I agree with you guys. She's gonna reject him in that way. So if he does go back to number 2 Hardcore, I think she's eventually gonna catch on to him, because that was probably like the reason why they split, right? Was because he was unfaithful and he whatever had his issues. So I think with him, the more she hangs out with Chris, she's gonna realize that this is really not my Chris. I don't know, somehow. I think she's gonna catch on eventually. Or also, yeah, his brother, because they were so close together when they were younger. And so I think he kind of knows like certain clues on figuring out that this really isn't my real brother. It's just another version of him. And yeah, I think something is going to happen when Argus, the whole team, goes into Chris's house and finds the quantum door and just mess everything up. Maybe open all the other doors to all the other dimensions, and we're gonna have doppelgangers galore. I don't know. Then it's gonna be like, who are you? Like, people are gonna try and trick each other and say they're from this Earth, but they're really not. And our Chris is gonna have to figure out who's who.
It's the 3 Spider-Mans pointing at each other.
Yeah, right. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. A lot can happen, I guess. But I hope Eagly comes back and kicks more ass. That's what I want.
MetaBeast, I don't know if you can hear us, MetaBeast. If you want to add anything on what you think is speculative for next episode.
I am not sure. Other than probably the confrontation, because, you know, it ends with Chris walking back to his home universe and them about to raid it. So that's going to be interesting. And it sounds like they do something to it. I can't tell what, but I don't have much speculation. No, I think next week's going to be a surprise to me.
All right. Well,
I'm wondering who's going to steal the show, though. I think it's what's her name? Waller's daughter's turn.
Abadiah?
Yeah.
So who was the show stealer for you in this episode, MetaBeast?
Oh, yeah, Vigilante. Definitely. Okay. Yeah, that works. Right.
Is that Dave?
Yeah, you didn't
Dave!
see him wave? No.
Hi, Dave.
I heard you, Dave. What up?
Yeah, we had to leave the Solana house. It's rather loud, and there's not a whole lot really going on.
I was like, oh, Dave got kicked out. What do you do now?
Yes, that's actually what happened. I wasn't supposed to tell you.
Right.
Sorry.
No, you're good. So I actually did do what we used to do in the past here at Video Shane, and I asked the AI what it thought might happen in the next episode. And so what I mean by that is we have an AI here called Lizzie, and we compiled all the data that basically Lizzie got off the internet, you know, like Reddit and all that. And our AI compiled what she thinks is speculative on the next episode. So she thinks that Chris and Argus will definitely have a showdown. She believes that Chris and Eagly will team up once again for a chaotic brawl between Argus, Judo Master, as well as Red Saint Wild. And the 11th Street Kids may actually be a part of this as well. We're not really sure. On top of that, Lizzie also thinks that Keith uncovers Chris as an imposter. And the reason why is, you know, Chris is really doing things that, you know, the original Chris didn't really seem like he did before. Like he's saving people without his suit. You know, he's asking all these oddball questions right here. So the AI thinks that Keith is going to find out really soon that this isn't his brother. We also have a speculation that Red Saint Wild will start hunting down Eagly and will actually catch Eagly by the end of the episode, but not kill him. So we'll have to see on that. And then it says right here, there will be a little bit more emotional deepening with hardcore. It's boring stuff. And then lastly, they will discover what universe they're really in. So that's what the AI thinks is going to happen. Now, here's what I think is going to happen, at least by the end of the episode, because a couple standouts for me. I really enjoyed Rick Flag right here. Where is he? Like, I enjoyed this entire scene. It felt like a scene of The Office, right? Where he shows up and like he's just the jealous boyfriend. He's got the two phones on. He's acting strange. Like, and I'm a big fan of Joel Kinnaman. You know, I've watched all the seasons of For All Mankind. You know, he's going to be playing an 80-year-old in the next season. And so this is a very well fleshed out actor. And what I think is going to happen is at the end of the episode, you know, we're going to figure out that we're going to probably go back to DCU, obviously, and maybe the quantum unfolding chamber will be no more, will cease to exist. And one of these characters in the so-called Earth X will remain in the DCU trapped. I think that's what's going to happen. And I really believe that this guy is a contender to get trapped in the DCU. So I think that's what's going to happen with that. And then another standout moment for me was the Peace Cycle. I just thought this thing was badass with its subwoofers on the side. And, you know, he's driving down the street and he's exuberating that he's all America, right? On that, right? You know, I can just imagine him just like humming the tune in his head. But in reality, it's not like the American Peace Cycle, just the Peace Cycle. I thought it was really stupid with the missiles in the front. That's why I loved it so much. But yeah, those are my kind of standout moments, was Rick Flag as well as the Peace Cycle. What's your guys' standout moments for the episode? We'll go with you, Slider.
Yeah, probably I don't know. I mean, that fight scene with him was pretty crazy. Like the pencils, I think that might have been like the
Yes.
key. That was just crazy. I mean, in the axe in the head when the guy's still like, "What just happened? What's going on?" And he's like, "Yeah, you're dead." So, I mean, that was pretty interesting fight. I mean, he really did some John Wick stuff on that. Yeah, I mean, and then like the whole like just like different character development for this world was really good. I really liked how, Rick Flag Jr., played it, tripping over the trash can and then like, trying to blame it on the guy. And then it's just funny. He's like, big mistake, at the end. And just, yeah, I just thought it was a really good episode. And yeah, I can't wait for the next one too. So it's really good how they're like building the momentum, I feel, towards like the end of the show. So yeah.
Yeah, he added that line too, with the big mistake. That wasn't part of his script. He just added that when they were filming.
Oh yeah, I watched a little bit of that podcast, but it was one of those where it's like stop, start, pause. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Those podcasts are great, by the way, because like Gunn really gives you all the extra alpha for everything. He kind of tells you what's happening, and it's just kind of good to know, his mindset, as well as you can see the relationship he has with the actors himself. Like you can tell Joe Kinnaman is someone that he really loves to have in his movies. So I can only imagine this guy is going to return. But Shane, anything that stood out for you in the episode, and any key moments that you want to point out?
Yeah, for me, the seeing Chris in action and being like John Wick was just really exciting for me. I'm a huge fan of the John Wick films. But something I did want to bring up is I think, like I said before, I think that all dialogue and interaction has a purpose. Every line is there for a reason. And I think that scene with the kid crying because he loves Peacemaker so much and how freaked out that makes Chris, I have a feeling that's foreshadowing for if Hardcore 2 and him get together in this universe and she ends up becoming overly obsessed, just like the kid in the car, that could also freak Chris out and be the thing that he goes, oh, this is not at all what I want. And being obsessed over isn't what he's looking for. And then I did want to circle back on the Eagly situation. I almost feel like in a lot of ways, Eagly sort of took the place of his brother that he lost, and that because that's his best friend in this world, and so he didn't necessarily need Eagly in this other world. Yeah, I think Eagly is probably is going to be a better friend to him than what his brother is in this world.
I love that you bring that up, because I feel like I feel like they're going to give Eagly a voice sooner or later. You know what I mean? Why not, right?
Yeah.
Why not give the eagle a voice, right? Like, whether it's telepathy or they like put a collar on him or something like that and they talk. But I feel like that's going to happen. But Metabeast, since you're back, any standout moments of this episode that you want to discuss before we kind of close it out? Or maybe not.
I think he might be frozen.
He's in Earth X. It's very white over there. So what about you, Shay? Standout moments, standout characters, anything you want to add to the conversation that we might have missed?
Might have missed, but I want to reiterate how much I loved, just like Shane had mentioned, and I think Slider too, the action scene. That was my favorite. It was just so fun to watch, like with the pencils and just the copy machine, just everything that he did, like with the axe, like everything was like perfect and on point. He did not miss a beat. I think the precision of everything was just, I loved it. I think as far as characters are concerned, I really like how Chris is unraveling, like emotionally. There's this internal turmoil that he's just, this internal struggle that we see that I really am enjoying seeing, because I feel like at the beginning of season 1, he was very surface level. And now that he has continued to experience more trauma, it's really making him more of a whole person and not just looking at things and he's not as much of a sexist, I guess, like he was at the beginning. So I think that he's becoming much more sensitive and much more, I don't know, much more appealing of a character.
All right. You know what's so interesting is during the fight scenes, like you guys always mentioned, like it was great. It was very John Wick. It was very precision, and it's beginning to sound like that is not how that world's Chris operates. He's probably somebody that really is kind of like Iron Man, where he needs his suit. You know, he needs like have some type of like power or something behind him, and you know, it kind of goes to the testament of the original Peacemaker, right? Like the reason why he's so good at what he does, and he'll literally kill for peace, is just because of all the trauma he went through in his original universe, with his brother dying, with his dad, the resentment, him finding Eagle Eye, him being locked up in prison, Suicide Squad #2. I mean, Argus literally trained him to be like a freaking killer, and so maybe this Argus maybe coddled him a little bit more because his brother and dad were around, right? But so now we're really seeing like this kick-ass machine that really never ever functioned like this in this universe before. Because look, he was really good at this. Like we all enjoyed it, right? And this entire episode was an action comic. That's what it felt like to me. Like I was reading a freaking issue of Action Comics, specifically the one that I was talking about. So I think just him being himself and not being able to help himself is just going to pretty much call him out on his own right there. So anyways, D, anything else you want to point out before we kind of close it out?
Yeah, I had fun like finding all these little hidden things in the show. But one thing that did stand out to me towards the end is Adrian, or Vigilante, how like he's always doing stuff for his friend because he really loves them, because that's who his family is, because he has nobody else. And when Economos is like asking about where his pants are, and he like just calmly says like, I washed it and I folded it and I left it out there for you. Like that's what friends do, kind of thing. So like just the way he said it, like to Economos, I don't know, I was like, wow.
Well, we
like
get to
really
see it at the
sweet.
end, right? We see him take his pants
Yeah,
off.
he took it off. I was like, that was just like a really, I don't know, a sweet moment. Yeah, I was like, because in this episode, we didn't see him as Vigilante. It was him as, you know, without his uniform
Adrian.
and his mask on. Yeah, it was just Adrian. And that's just who he is. He just wants to be surrounded by his friends, and like he would do anything for them, even wash their clothes, because he needs new clothes. He probably, I don't know, maybe puked on it, and he needs to go to work. I just had something, I lost it.
No, but you know, just to add to this, what was funny, and one of the comments I remember, like one of the 11th Street kids said, like, so Adrian, how much people have you killed? And he's just like nonchalant, like, I don't know, a shit ton. You know what I mean? How much is that, right? And he's like, you know, he has no problem being like so nonchalant about killing people, right? But when it comes to like other things, like, yeah, he's a very interesting character. He reminds me of Dexter. So
yes, totally.
And another thing I noticed when they were doing like the back and forth between our world and the other world was in the very beginning of the episode, where Keith is waking up Chris, and he's like, dude. He says dude, and then they pan to Hardcore and Adebayo, and she's getting woken up and she says dude, also at the very beginning of the episode. So yeah, I was like, okay. And I like how they do like the whole back and forth, but like at the same time, but from two different perspectives. Yeah, there's a lot of other Easter eggs, but I won't bore you guys.
No. We want to hear your Easter eggs, but it goes back to what Shane's saying, that every dialogue means something in here. And Shane, I'm watching the private chat, so please go ahead with your origin of Eagle Eye.
All right. So once again, back to this idea that everything is there for a reason. And I say that because during the podcast, Gunn specifically mentioned how he knew about Hardcore's relationship with Rick Flag Jr. when the first season started. That was her reason for being aggressive initially towards Chris. So he already knows what things he's setting up. And so Slider had brought up an interesting idea that the origin of Eagly could be from this X universe. And as you said that, I was sort of digesting it and thinking about it. And then I started thinking to myself, who's the only person that Eagly has been aggressive towards prior to the home break-in?
Adebayo.
Yeah.
Right. So could Eagly be a racist bird from this universe that his original father went there and got as a replacement for his brother? Thinking that this would push him in the direction that he wanted him to go to become a racist like his father.
That's
That's
interesting.
Oh.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and the father took care of him too while he was in prison.
He did
Right.
take care of him.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, yeah, that's a good point.
That is a very good point. How do you guys feel about that? 'Cause we all kind of love Eagly, right? Like
Wow.
a
He's a
racist
changed bird.
bald
He's
eagle.
a changed bird. He's a changed bird.
Well, everyone can have a redemption story, even an eagle, right? But you make a really good point. I never thought about that. Yeah, he's always like nipping at Adebayo, right? So,
But he did attack in the house. He did attack all the Argus agents, including
That's
Meadows and the other guys.
Yeah.
But
well, he was
I mean,
protecting
that was in
him, right?
self-defense. But yeah, I
Yeah.
guess Adebayo, she wasn't trying to hurt him.
And that was all the way from the very first episode that he was aggressive towards her.
That's right.
I'm thinking now.
They call it out every time. So
Yes. And she says, "Why's your bird mean to me?"
Yeah.
And he sloughs it off.
Wow, this makes a ton of sense.
Oh.
I'm pretty much leaning into the fact you guys are 1,000% on here. I'm just bringing this picture up because even though Tim Meadows was only in it for like a few seconds, his lines are just gold right here. Like his interaction with Economo was like it was a show stealer for me because of he's still nicknaming people, right? He's still blaming his burn blindness on this and that. It's like it was a meta duck, right? And then he's still saying titties and all this other stuff. And like, I just gotta say, like, he is such a good actor, and I really hope he continues on. Like, he's not one of those actors where like, okay, he's a one and done in season 2. Like, I really want to see Tim Meadows continue on in the DCU. So,
yeah, I really liked his expression when. When Bordeaux's on the phone talking to Economos, and he's like, I didn't say it was a duck, it was an eagle, and you could see him like, eagle. And I was just like, so hilarious. Yeah, just like that one word, and he's like so confused about it. Like, oh, it was a duck.
Yeah, I really want to. I want to see the interaction with him and Judo Master. I think that's going to be really funny.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I feel like that they're going to have a big fight, right? They're going to have a big fight. This guy's going to come back. That's what I think is going to happen. I think we're going to ramp up in the next episode because it's building to that already, and we're going to have a big fight at the house. And it also shows in the previews, right? If you guys watch the previews, that it looks like Peacemaker somehow gets a portable, freaking portal device, right, where he can jump through worlds, because you see him put like some kind of portal device through a doorway and it opens up in like an older house. I don't know if you've seen that in the previews, and then they walk through that door. So I think we spend time in the DCU in this next episode, and then we end up back in Earth X or wherever the heck we're at. So I think that's what's going to happen. And once again, we find out who invented the quantum unfolding chamber in the next episode, guys. Nice. So let's kind of close it out. We've at the hour mark right here, and kind of give us your final thoughts. And we'll start with you, Slider.
Yeah, like I said, I think it was a good episode. It had a lot of action, and I'm really interested to see who did create the quantum unfolding, device. And like I said, I think it's Lex is going to have something to do with it. And that, his father maybe stole it in this universe, and that's how he got access to it. But, I think, like, this episode coming up is going to be really good, where Chris is going to find out that, this world isn't what he thinks it is, and it's gonna really open his eyes, I think. And then I hope Rick Flag Jr. Stays on, that he gets, like you said, I hope he gets stuck, because I think he's just a really great actor. And that's what I got. So I'm just looking forward to the next episode.
All right, Shane, close it out.
I loved all of the action. That was my number one favorite part. I also really loved how we were able to really dig deep into all of the different characters, from Harcourt to Peacemaker and the brother and the dad. It was just such a great foundational episode for me, and a lot of really good aha moments. So I'm very excited. I really am very excited to see if your theories pan out. Like, first of all, about the theory with Eagly, love that. And then Slider's theory about Lex Luthor being, responsible for the quantum unfolding chamber. I feel like that is a great plot point. So I'm excited to see what comes next.
All right. Video Shane, close it out.
Yeah, I love this episode, and back to this idea of Eagly, and we talked about how disappointing it would be to find out that that's his origin, if it is. I think that that's something that Gunn does a lot in his stories, is this idea of redemption, pushing characters over moral hurdles, and then bringing them back to having us question whether we really love them, and then bringing them back to we love them, and that's happening with all of our characters. Economos is sneaking around on our friends, and he's going to have a redemption. And obviously Chris has done some questionable things, and even if as he starts off in the series in series 1, and then we grow to understand, the reasons why he did the things that he did, and that he's trying to be a better person always. So I if that ends up being the case with Eagly, I think we'll have a huge redemption piece that I would be looking forward to seeing. So I like that aspect of Gunn's storytelling.
All right.
Yeah, I'm excited for whatever is gonna happen. When I saw the preview, but you never know, it could change, and it may not be what we saw, or what we think it is. So yeah, I'm always excited for the next week, just so I can see like whether we got like our thoughts, if they were like in the right direction, or like just completely off. But yeah, this has been a fun episode. I agree with you, Shay. Love the fight scene when from when they were just sitting on the bench, enjoying their hot dogs and talking, and then you see a bunch of people running, and then all of a sudden they get blown up, and then the fight scenes start with Chris. So I thought that was really cool. It just the whole fight scene just all flowed, and you knew like it was coming to these people from the SOL, and they still like went to investigate what was happening, and one by one they just chuck them off. So I thought that was really brilliant how they did that whole action. But yeah, I'm looking forward to see what happens next week, as well as having fun finding more Easter eggs. Easter eggs. It's like, it's not Easter. More hidden eggs in there, because I did notice when after he defeated the SOL and the helicopter came down and the people are all cheering. There were people taking pictures, and there's like a logo on the back of one of the phones, but it wasn't like in Superman, you could see like the logo was for Lord Tech, because that was what they were using, right? But this one, it was like a different logo, so I'm trying to figure out what it means. But anyway, yeah, I'm excited to find out more hidden eggs in the next episodes to come.
So I have a little bit of some speculation here. So before the episode, I went to go kind of like learn the history of Earth X. And so I go back to what Gunn says, and let me pull this up if I can find it. Gunn said this, right? He says Man of Tomorrow and Peacemaker Season 2 are very, very connected, right? And so I truly believe these two will show up in Peacemaker, right? And here's why I think they're going to show up. Because in Earth X, Lex is the hero. He's not the villain. This is the villain. He's Overman in Earth X right here, right? And so if you guys don't know who Overman is basically the dystopian version of Superman from DC Comics. He originates from Earth X as a successor of the original Infinite Crisis, as a parallel universe where the Axis of Power won World War II, leading to a world dominated by the Nazi regime. And unlike being a hero as Superman, in Earth X, he is Overman, and he's raised by the Reich. And so Lex is actually the hero. He's the heroic counterpart to the regular Lex Luthor. In this alternate universe, the moral alignment of Lex is compared to kind of Superman instead. He's a brilliant scientist that is trying to defend the world from the villainous freedom fighters and all that stuff. So I think that's what's going to happen here, and it will somehow tie into Man of Tomorrow. I mean, that kind of makes sense to me. They're already saying that Superman showed up on the set, right? So I don't know what you guys think about that. Take that to the bank. But I think that's what's happening, or what will happen at the very end. So that's my speculation nation right there, guys. Yeah. But that has been the show. I appreciate everyone for showing up. We appreciate everyone for tuning in every single time. We know MetaBeast was here. He's at the Solana House with Dave, and I think he's also hosting a Twitter space. So shout out to MetaBeast. I want to thank Slider, Video Shane, Shay, D. Christopher couldn't make it, aka Mr. Terrific. So Christopher, if you're watching, we'll catch you on the next one. As well as Raven and The Biggest Bro. They're both out busy today. So guys, thank you so much for tuning in. We're going to see you guys next week, and hopefully our speculation pans out. Until then, take care. Aloha.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Lights down low, the screen's on fire. Reels are spinning, we're fueling desire. Split in two, who's running the show?